Hey, and welcome into Capital City Sports. I'm Ed Cahill.
And I'm Taniqua Penix. We are back after having the last few weeks off, but we have a great show coming up for you. In this week's show, basketball season may be over, but baseball season is in full swing. The Yardcocks had a weekend series at home against LSU, and were looking to prove they could take down the nation's fifth-ranked team. We'll send it out to Carolina Stadium for all the highlights.
And we have plenty of softball coverage as well, as the ladies were home all last week. We'll head down to Beckham Field for all the action.
And we'll go inside the boardroom as the guys discuss the world of USC sports.
But first, the baseball team had a 3-game series at home against one of the nation's top teams.
That's right, Ed. The Gamecocks hosted the 5th-ranked LSU Tigers this weekend and got off to a great start. As we begin our triple-header coverage on baseball, we'll send it down to Justin Fabiano at the Carolina Stadium.
The Gamecocks are starting their first home SEC series at Carolina Stadium against number 5 LSU. On the mound for this one, your boy Sam Dyson is 2-1 on the year, looking for his 3rd win. We'll see. Top of the first, Dyson facing Ochinko. Dyson wins that one. Ochinko goes down looking. Dyson looks pretty good. We go to the top of the 3rd. DJ LeMahieu singles to right. Jackie Bradley's there to clean up. Now Dyson would walk 2 batters. Here's Blake Dean walking, and that would bring up Sean Ochinko to the plate. That's a sac fly to center field. Fooled the cameraman. Whit Merrifield comes up with it. The throw is not in time, but we go to the bottom of the 3rd now. Jackie Bradley at the plate. He says sac fly. How about big fly? Taking it deep to right. Cue up the sirens, baby. Jackie Bradley, the freshman, ties the score at 1 with a Hardy's home run. We move to the bottom of the 5th now. Little guy Bobby Haney at the plate, and he says, I want a piece of that. He goes deep with another Hardy's home run, making the score 2-1. Cue up the siren. You know, that ball hit our own Cameron Weiderman's leg as it came down right over the fence in right field. Nevertheless, Gamecocks go up 2-1, and they don't look back. Like I said, Sam Dyson will look strong in this one. Sean Ochinko back at the plate. He's not looking this time. He's whiffing, baby. Dyson would go 7 innings, and he got the win. He would walk Ryan Schimpf right here, but it doesn't matter because Micah Gibbs would come up to the plate and ground into the 3-6-3 double play. Sam Dyson looked real tough. He hit 99 in the 6th, guys. Back up at the plate, Whit Merrifield shows bunt with 2 strikes, but then on the next pitch, he goes yard deep to left. That one up in the seats right there. The Gamecocks would go up 4-1, and they're still not done. The senior Andrew Crisp at the plate with 2 on, and he sends that one to the bullpen. That's another Hardy's home run. 4 on the evening, folks, and cue up the sirens because the Gamecocks go on to win 7-3. For Capital City Sports, I'm Justin Fabiano. Now let's send it over to Saturday's game for the highlights.
Thank you, Fabs. I don't know if highlights is what I'm going to call this game unless you're an LSU fan. The Gamecocks on Saturday, great weather, taking on LSU for the 2nd game of the 3-game series. Jared Mitchell with the leadoff single for the Tigers. And if you capitalize early, you can capitalize even more. Bad pickoff throw by USC's Adam Westmoreland. Mitchell will get to 2nd. He will blow right by 2nd and on to 3rd base. It seemed to be that kind of day for the Gamecocks. When the first inning goes like that, you know it's going to be one of those days. Mitchell will score on the infield hit by Chris McGee. LSU will take a 1-0 lead. They would end up scoring 2 runs in the first inning, but USC had some offense of their own. D'Angelo Mack, RBI to left field. He'll score. Jackie Bradley Jr., the Gamecocks down by 1. A couple pitches later, Mack, he's going to try to steal first. Nick Ebert at the plate swings and misses, and Mack is gunned down at 2nd base. And this is where LSU begins to pull away from the Gamecocks. The right fielder Mitchell with the home run to right field in the 3rd inning. LSU takes a 3-2 lead on to the 4th catcher, Micah Gibbs, getting in on the home run action. 4-2 LSU. Gibbs 1 for 3 on the day, but he made that one count. And to cap it off, second baseman Ryan Shrimp later that inning, he too will hit a deep bomb to right field. LSU goes on to win the game 10-3. Same two teams at it again on Sunday for the rubber match. Now I'll send it over to my good buddy Mike Wadsworth. Mike?
We descend on Carolina Stadium, where it was Game 3 between the Gamecocks and LSU to decide the series, and the Gamecocks get at it in the bottom of the first. Jackie Bradley leading things off, hits this one out deep to left field. That'll get up over the wall, continuing his hot series. The Gamecocks taking the early lead in the bottom of the first, and it was the freshman early for Carolina, Nolan Belcher, on the mound, getting this strikeout to end the second inning. He went 3 innings without a blemish. Bottom 3, D'Angelo Mack hits this one to first base, forcing a tough throw that gets away from the first baseman, Jackie Bradley, who led off the inning with a single. It says, all right, I'll take home plate. The Gamecocks get the 2-0 lead through 3 innings. Then the top of the 4th, Belcher got into trouble. LSU's first hit is a bomb into the bleachers and left. A couple hits later and a sac fly. LSU gets 3 in the inning. What happened to your man out there, Justin Dallas?
He was hitting his spots, working in and out, locating his off-speed pitch, and the balls that they did hit hard were out of the zone. They were not bad pitches, and they just put the ball in play and were really aggressive.
We move to the bottom of the 5th, where Bobby Haney leads things off with a single out here into right field. A couple more USC players got on base, setting up Whit Merrifield for this sacrifice fly opportunity. The run crossing the plate for the Gamecocks was the tying run, so through 5 innings, we're all squared away at 3 runs apiece. But LSU got things going in the top of the 6th off Parker Bangs. Shimp for the Tigers goes yard. This was following a sacrifice fly, so LSU getting 3 runs in the inning, taking the huge lead. And from there, the Gamecock bats went cold, not recording a hit the rest of the way. And we move to the top of the 8th inning, where LSU hits a 3-run shot. Leon Landry giving the Tigers the huge lead. They tack on 2 more in the inning, giving the Tigers the 11-3 lead, and they would go on to win at that score. Head coach Ray Tanner for the Gamecocks talked about the play of his young pitching staff.
We've only had 2 or 3 pitchers that have been as effective as we would like. Certainly, we realize that some of those guys are young, but you also have to produce. And other than maybe Ferrado and Dyson, a couple other guys that pitched okay, we got to get better in our pitching staff.
Mike Wadsworth, Capital City Sports.
For more on the Yardcocks, let's send it over to Corey Burkhardt in the boardroom.
All right, thank you, Taniqua. Welcome back into the boardroom here on Capital City Sports. I'm Corey Burkhardt, being joined by this guy. He's Brian Walker, producer here at Capital City Sports, one of our baseball reporters. B-Walk, it's good to have you this week.
Oh, it's good to be in, Corey.
Now, April is right around the corner, and that means May is right behind it. Graduation is looming. Are you ready to get out?
You know what? I'm a little bit ready to go on and move on with my life. I think 5 years of college feels like 8 with the partying, but we're good to go, I think.
All right, very good. Let's talk USC baseball. We just saw how the weekend went for them. They won that first game against LSU, ended up dropping the final 2 on Saturday and Sunday. If you're Coach Ray Tanner, how are you feeling right now about the baseball team?
You got kind of mixed reactions. Friday night went great. Sam Dyson is your clear Friday night starter. He is an ace. He did amazing things on the mound. Beyond that, the pitching staff is in shambles, and Coach Tanner said as much. They need more production out of these younger guys, both on the mound and at the plate, if they're going to take on this SEC schedule. But we knew coming in, it's a team full of young guys. This would happen. There were going to be some growing pains. So I think it's good that they can at least come away with a win here, win there. They'll come as we're accustomed to, just not yet. People need to stay patient.
All right. I think a lot of people thought on Friday when they went up against LSU, they beat their best pitcher. And I think people were pretty hopeful about the rest of the weekend, thought the Gamecocks had a chance to win the series, if not sweep it. On Saturday, especially on Sunday, what let the Gamecocks down?
Well, I tell you, there's a reason that LSU is ranked number 5 in the nation and Carolina's not ranked right now, and we saw it. A team with experience and power like LSU, they'll see what happened Friday night against a very good Carolina pitcher, so the loss for them probably wasn't too shocking. They adjusted to the way Carolina plays, the small ball, the lack of hitting for the most part, and they came out and they did what they needed to do to get the win. Carolina, not quite the experience there to do the same and keep the momentum going, so as you saw, they dropped the final 2 contests.
All right. Last week, they were on the road at College of Charleston on Wednesday, then Georgia Southern. So this weekend, they're on the road at Kentucky, I believe it is. What do the Gamecocks need to do to come out of that series doing okay?
Well, I tell you, they need to get more consistency out of their pitching. A lot of walks coming from even some of the experienced pitchers. Curtis Johnson, he's hurt right now. Your ace closer, that means, is not there. They need others like Alex Ferrado to step in. Sam Dyson, solid so far, but Nolan Belcher, if he's going to keep that Sunday starts position, he needs to stay consistent, keep on improving, just like Ray Tanner said after the LSU series. Kentucky is not LSU, but an SEC team, still going to be tough. So they definitely need to do work on the mound, get those walks down.
All right, real quick, does this baseball team have what it takes to make it through an SEC schedule and then have some postseason hopes?
You know, I hate to say it, I don't think this is the year. We've been accustomed to some good postseason runs. This is a year for all these young guys to kind of get a feeling for what it's like, but it's just not starting out the way you would think a team with regional and super regional potential would start.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break. You're going to stick around?
I'll be here.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back later in the show, talk some more about USC sports. We'll see you in a bit.
Now that we've checked out the baseball squad, we'll take a quick break and see how the Gamecocks softball team is doing. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Despite having a strong start to their season, the Gamecocks softball team has been struggling as of late. Last week, they hosted Ole Miss for a doubleheader, and our senior softball reporter Jared Munch was there for the games.
Kelly Carpenter and the Ole Miss Rebels come to town to take on the Gamecocks. USC looking for their first SEC win of the year and also break a 7-game losing streak. We go right to the 5th inning where Lauren Lackey doubles to left. And 2 batters later, Laura Mendez breaks the 0-0 tie with an RBI single that brings in Lackey. In the top of the 6th, Lauren Grill for Ole Miss would send this one into orbit. That is gone. We are tied back up at 1-1. Later in the inning, Michelle May here with the single into center field, and we would have a pitching change. Kirsten White would come on for Audrey Broyles. Then Amanda Hutchison pinch running for May. Gets gunned down at second base. The tag applied by Evan Childs. And after a single, a hit by pitch, and a walk, Allie Presswood would ground out to end the inning. Gamecocks escaping a close one. Ole Miss back up in the top of the 7th. Courtney Guinado starts the inning with a single. And Lauren Grill, a couple batters later, would get intentionally walked after that home run in the 6th. Don't want to mess with her. But you don't want to mess with Lauren Lackey either. She gets the outfield assist, gunning the runner down at home plate to end the 7th, and we are going to extra innings. Laura Mendez gets things started with the single up the middle, and then it'll be a couple batters later, Evan Childs steps to the plate and says, "Ladies, we got another game to go. Let's get this one finished right now." She rips it up the middle. We're going to have a play at home plate. The ball will not get there in time. Gamecocks score and win 2-1 in 11 innings. And like I said, they had to turn around and do it again. Here we are in Game 2. In the 3rd inning, Ole Miss already up 3-0, and Alyssa McGovern with the RBI single up the middle. The throw by Voigt is not going to get there in time. Then Allie Presswood steps to the plate and does one better with a 2-run single to cap off a 5-run inning in the 3rd for the Rebels. Now USC down 7-0 in the 5th. This would help out. Bases loaded. The walk and Redondo scores. We're on the board 7-1. From there, the scoreboard and the bats would light up. Evan Childs with an RBI single of her own, and then a 2-run double by Lindsey Walker here. But USC's not done yet. After a Weatherby RBI single, Voigt would step up to the plate and knock one of her own to give the Gamecocks an 8-7 lead, scoring 8 runs in the 5th inning. In the 6th, the Rebels would retaliate. Here's Lisa Conchos with an RBI triple that would tie the game back up at 8 apiece, folks, and we have got ourselves a ball game. But not for long, because in the 7th, here's an RBI single by Michelle May, and then after that, it's Conchos, Guinado, and Doubt scoring on a Lauren Grill triple. clearing the bases, and Ole Miss would go on to take a 12-8 victory, splitting the series with the Gamecocks. Jared Munch, Capital City Sports.
The ladies didn't have much of a break after Ole Miss. They welcomed in Georgia over the weekend, and our Cameron Waterman was there with all the highlights.
Audrey Broyles on the mound taking on the Georgia Bulldogs this weekend. Audrey Broyles is 7-4 on the season, but we get into some trouble early. Bulldogs have runners on first and second for Alyssa Goller. Singles up the middle. 1 run is going to score. Bulldogs will put on 2 in the inning. On a sac fly here by Wiggins, Adele Voigt's going to get under it, but the throw is offline and not there fast enough. Georgia goes up 2-0 in first. Bottom of the second now, Christina Reed's going to lay down the bunt and a bad throw by Jacqueline Weatherby. This one's going to get by Redondo into right field. Adele Voigt holds onto the ball for a few seconds too long. Georgia takes advantage, scoring the run there. So just after 2 innings, the Gamecocks are on a 3-0 hole. Sarah McLeod got the start for the Bulldogs, and she had some good defense backing her up all game long. Here she strikes out Adele Voigt looking, and then Candace Redondo is going to ground out the short as well. 12 groundouts for the Gamecocks in this one. McLeod had a no-hitter through 5 innings and some heads-up D. Here Ashton Payne caught too far off first base. The offensive struggles continue for the Gamecocks. Defensively, PJ Fulmer flashing the leather there on the diving catch on the bunt attempt. But she would be one up by Kristen Stubblefield, the freshman from California, the diving catch in the outfield. That would be the play of the game for both teams in this one. Eventually, the Gamecocks offense would get on track. Jacqueline Weatherby ends Sarah McLeod's no-hit bid here in the 5th inning with the single up the middle. Carolina, however, could not take advantage of the leadoff runner on base there. We jump to the bottom of the 7th where the Gamecocks look to make a rally. Kristen Stubblefield singles to right. That's going to score the first run. However, it would not be enough. McLeod is going to close the door on her complete game win. 4-1 win for Georgia Bulldogs in Game 1. In Game 2, Crystal Robinson got the start for the Gamecocks, but the Georgia Bulldogs would get off to an early lead once again. Here is Megan Wiggins hitting an RBI double to deep center field over Lauren Lackey's head. 1 run is going to score, early 1-0 lead for the Bulldogs. Next up is Brianna Heston, and she's going to find a hole to the left side of the infield right here. Alyssa Goller is going to score on the play, and Wiggins moves to third. That brought Crystal Robinson's day to an end. Kirsten White comes in relief and doesn't fare much better. Taylor Schloppy hits that one right back to the mound into center field. 2-run score. Kirsten White, she's obviously frustrated, a little frazzled by that ball coming back and almost hitting her. Georgia would put up 6 runs in the inning, and South Carolina's offense continues to struggle. Here, Alyssa Goller makes a nice play at third base. A little later on, Lauren Lackey gets caught looking strike 3 there. And Lindsey Walker is going to ground into a double play. Heads up by Georgia, getting the tag, and then the throw to first. Carolina was held to 2 hits the entire game. A scary moment came here later on. Lindsey Walker is going to make a nice play at first, snagging it, and the quick throw to first, little off. Jacqueline Weatherby gets run over. Joyce Compton obviously upset with that in the umpire's face. The umps would talk about and tell Sandberg to get out of here, thrown out of the game. It would not make a difference in the final score. Caitlin Westfall lines out the third on this play. That ends the game. Not a good showing by the Gamecocks in this one as they lose Game 2 by a score of 10-0. Game 3 was more of the same as the Gamecocks fall by a score of 6-0. Taylor Schloppy and Alyssa Goller both hit 3-run home runs. Gamecocks get swept in this series. Cameron Widerman, Capital City Sports.
Now that we've checked in with the softball team, we'll send it over to the boys in the boardroom to discuss more USC sports.
All right, thank you, Tanika. Welcome back into the boardroom now. B-Walk, we are outside of the Carolina Coliseum, former home of USC basketball. Oh. Their current home right across the street, the Colonial Life Arena. Just 2 weeks ago, their season ended in the opening round of the NIT, upset by Davidson. off season now for Coach Darren Horn. What are his priorities going into next season?
Well, his priorities are basically keep doing what he did this season, build on the momentum of what was still a great season as a first-year coach when nobody expected very much. Bring these recruits that he's got in. It's been a long time since we've seen true freshmen and not JUCO recruits come in that look like they have the potential to do big things. Horn needs to get them into his system, have them working with Downey and Archie, who hopefully will heed everyone's advice and stick around another year. They lose Sam Frederick, find a replacement for him, just work on some of that defense, and once you get a bench there for players to come in off of, I think we're looking at a much more solid team.
All right, overall, how would you rate Coach Darren Horn's first season as the USC men's basketball coach?
Well, you know what? I think it was a great performance for his first year, considering the Gamecocks were picked by everyone and their mother to finish probably dead last in the league. So what they did was pretty remarkable despite the weak finish of the last 5 games. However, I'm with the majority of fans that you hear saying, I want to see what he does maybe without Devin Downey before I go ahead and crown him as the next big thing at Carolina. Devin Downey's going to make any team instantly better, and he's doing that right now. We lose Sam Frederick, as I said. Let's see what happens now, and then give it another year after Downey's gone. Let's see if the recruits are coming in and buying into the system.
All right. It seems this time of year, basketball ends, now baseball comes to the forefront, and now spring football making its arrival on USC campus. If you're Coach Steve Spurrier, what's your number one priority right now?
Well, if I'm Coach Spurrier, my number one priority is to go with spring without a star player getting in trouble. Laddie Adjaboy, the outstanding defensive tackle, busted in a drug deal elsewhere in the city. Come on, you got to be better than that. Otherwise, quarterback controversy. It's all over every news item you see about this team right now, and Stephen Garcia needs to step into that spot that's been destined for him, according to many people, since he set foot on campus, and he needs to show why we've been waiting for him to get the full-time starter position. Smelly's gone, Beecher's gone. This is Garcia's job to lose. He needs to lead this offense, especially in the absence of McKinley and Jared Cook.
All right. Going into next season, across the board, what's the strong point? What's the weak point for this USC football team?
Well, I tell you, the weak point is definitely that receiving core, and I guess the offense in general. You know, we lost the top 2 pass catchers. We got still an unproven quarterback vying for the number 1 spot. And so far in 4 years of Spurrier's tenure here, we haven't seen an offensive line that can really do their job. Strong point, recruiting class. We got guys coming in right now, especially Stephon Gilmore, who is expected to rejuvenate a revamped offense that's going more towards that wild hog that we used to see out of Arkansas. They're already running him in that place, running the option with the spread. It could be very exciting if some of these freshmen live up to the hype.
All right, very good. A late-breaking stat earlier in the week. USC going to make a little bit of money on the Outback Bowl, about 150 grand, 200 grand, somewhere in that range. So congratulations for them. It's hard to believe March is almost over, and we got 2 or 3 shows left, and next thing you know, graduation, we're going to be gone. Real quick, I want to give a happy birthday to my mom this week. I love you. Happy birthday, Ma.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Burke. I'm sorry that this is the only present you get.
All right, that's going to do it for me and B-Walk. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. We'll see you next week in the boardroom.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here this week at Capital City Sports. Be sure to check us out online at capitalcitysports.blip.tv for all of our shows and our exclusive online content.
We're also available on iTunes. Just search Capital City Sports and download us on your iPod.
We'll be back here next Thursday night at 8 for a brand new episode. Until then, I'm Ed Cahill.
And I'm Tamika Penix for Capital City Sports. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.